Ladies and gentlemen, Linda Wananchi today stormed Taita Taveta in style. And almost all key political players from Linda Wananchi were present. Edwin Sifuna was present, James Orengo was present, Babu Owino was present, and the entire brigades were actually present in Taita Taveta. But something happened there. Jack Wamboka, the Bumula member of parliament, who is a close ally of Edwin Sifuna, made this declaration.
Jambo la pili, Linda Wananchi inaenda kutoa presidential candidate ambaye atakuwa rais wa awamu ya 6 wa Kenya. Anaitwa Mheshimiwa Edwin Sifuna.
So right now we know who is going to be the party leader of Linda Wananchi. We also know who is going to be their presidential candidate. And I want to talk about that accidental leakage by Jack Wamboka. Because remember, in politics, nothing happens out of mere coincidence. Everything in politics is normally well planned, well scripted, and executed to achieve a specific political objective. There is an objective which Jack Wamboka, who is Edwin Sifuna's close ally, wanted to achieve. Because the last time Pauline Njoroge tried leaking that lineup, you remember how James Orengo responded to her.
Munajua ndio tufurushe Ruto, lazima mkuwe na kura. Mheshimiwa party leader, kuna watu wananisumbua hapa, nataka kujua kama wamejiandikisha kupiga kura.
Today was a bit different. Jack Wamboka invited Orengo and he declared Orengo the party leader. And Orengo left very happy. Then the moment Orengo sat down, Jack Wamboka invited Edwin Sifuna and he declared Edwin Sifuna the presidential candidate. In short, from Taita Taveta today, we know who is going to be the party leader of Linda Wananchi. And we also know who is going to be their presidential candidate. So in this video, I want us to look at that lineup. Before I do it, in case you're watching the channel for the first time, take a second or two, click the subscribe button. Ladies and gentlemen, the first question which now we should ask ourselves, who is likely to be the running mate in Linda Wananchi? Because already Jack Wamboka has revealed that Sifuna is going to be the presidential candidate. James Orengo has been moving in Nyanza, declaring that he's going to be on the ballot. But today, the fact is Sifuna is ideally, we both agree, that Sifuna should be the presidential candidate on that side. But who is going to be the running mate? That's the question. And I have two theories. Kalonzo Musyoka can be a running mate to Edwin Sifuna. But the question is, will he accept? The other day, Kalonzo Musyoka organized a fundraiser. That fundraiser raised 9 million Kenyan shillings. I can assure you that the event in Taita Taveta alone costed more than 9 million. So it means if Kalonzo were to organize that kind of event, I mean, a presidential candidate raising 9 million, that's a serious joke. So I doubt if he will be able to be the deputy. But the fact is, he has the numbers. Which brings me to my second guy, John Methu. And I want you guys to start observing very keenly John Methu. This guy is being groomed by Rigathi Gachagua. And is being groomed because, according to Rigathi Gachagua's game plan, he had initially planned to groom Ndindi Nyoro. But Ndindi Nyoro refused to play balls. Ndindi Nyoro refused to take possession. And because Rigathi is locked out, likely is going to propose John Methu to deputize Edwin Sifuna. That ticket of the Loya Nation and the Kikuyu Nation will win the presidency very early in the morning. In fact, Kalonzo is banking on Rigathi. So if Rigathi were to front Methu, Kalonzo will not get votes in the mountain. The other person who was eyeing the vote from the mountain was none other than Fred Matiang'i. With the results from Olkalau, Matiang'i is done, dusted completely in Mount Kenya. So I want us to start figuring out the possibility of John Methu and Edwin Sifuna's ticket. There's something special about these two guys. They are youthful. So which means, apart from the Luhya nation and the Kikuyu nation, these two can actually attract the young people. So I'm looking at it as from that perspective. Number two, and this is now to Linda Wananchi, and is closely related to my first question. Is this their lineup which they will use during the negotiations? Because remember, this team were initially in ODM. They've bolted out. So which means, in an ideal situation, and if you are to be honest, Edwin Sifuna cannot become the president of the Republic of Kenya alone. The opposition must unite. That's the only way. But remember, for them, they have to consolidate their bases first, which means Sifuna has to consolidate Linda Wananchi, Kalonzo the other side, Rigathi the other side. So is it possible that the lineup of Orengo, the party leader, Sifuna, the presidential candidate, maybe the Babu Wino, the Secretary General, we don't know. Is this their lineup which they are now going to present on their negotiating table? I want to assume this is the team which they will be presenting to negotiate. And it's a very strong team. If you have Orengo on your side, you have Sifuna on your side, you have Babu Wino. Then on the other side, they have Kalonzo, they have Rigathi, they have Matiang'i. Okay, the rest are jokers. Martha Karua, Muturi, Wamalwa, those have been swallowed. So it's a good team. So I want to assume this is the team now which they'll be presenting. I mean, if they were to negotiate with William Ruto, which you should not rule out. I know you guys will rule out that. Politics is about two things, interest and betrayal. Even if they were to negotiate with Ruto, this is the team. Because right now, if you are to give Ruto option of working with Sifuna camp and Oburu camp, which camp do you think will be more attractive to him? So I think this is the team they'll be using to negotiate. As a matter of fact, and the other important question, and I know this is something which they are really discussing, and if you've been following Edwin Sifuna closely, he's been very careful. And the question is, can this team, that is Sifuna, Babu, and Orengo, that camp, can they defeat William Ruto in 2027? The answer to that question, in my view, is yes and no. Yes, because of how the opposition will run their campaigns. If each one of them decides to be selfish, William Ruto will wash them very early in the morning. For example, if Kalonzo were to run, Matiang'i were to run, Sifuna were to run, they'll be washed. But if they decided to unite, then they can lock William Ruto out. So I think probably that is what they are working on. And importantly, what is their winning formation? The other day, I listened to Rigathi Gachagua, and he was very specific on what he wants to achieve. He was very specific on the number of MPs he wants, the number of governors, the number of senators, which means Rigathi Gachagua is already setting terms and conditions for negotiations. Now, what is the winning formation for this team? Are they going to have Sifuna, the presidential candidate, Babu Wino, Nairobi? Who are they going to bring as the running mate? Is it going to be Methu? Or is it going to be Ndindi Nyoro? Who are they going to front? Or is Sifuna going to team up with Matiang'i? Who? So the winning formation is very important. And lastly, the load factor. And this is something which I think they should blame Orengo for. You see, when Raila Odinga died, Oburu Odinga was appointed as the party leader. At some point, Orengo declared himself the party leader. And Oburu made a mistake of declaring that their camp will not be running for the presidency. And Orengo got an opportunity. He moved across the entire Luo nation with one message, that for them, they are going to sponsor a presidential candidate, and it's going to be the presidential candidate. Today, Jack Wamboka has told them that Orengo is just going to be a party leader. The presidential candidate is Edwin Sifuna. So how will this play with the Luo nation? And of course, to some extent, the Oburu Odinga's camp. Because as much as you guys like dismissing that camp of Oburu Odinga, they are capable. They have the ODM structures. The other day I saw Orengo parading some defectors in the name of ODM coordinators. While we all know, I've been in ODM. I know ODM structures in and out. ODM don't have anything in the name of coordinators. Across in ODM structures, they don't have coordinators. If you go to my profile, you'll see me being called coordinator. Because the ODM youths, which was a lobby group, I was their coordinator. National coordinator. But in the ODM structure, they have the Youth League, Women League, and Mainstream. Simple. And in those structures of Youth League, Women League, of course, nowadays, they also have the disability. There is nothing like coordinator. So which means that team has the ODM structures. But how will they vote if Orengo is not on the ballot? I don't know what you think. That's my take. Until next time, this is Makwiny. Bye-bye.